Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. I am so excited to be here. We're coming off of Resurrection Sunday, Easter Sunday, and I was intentional in the way that I scheduled this training and connection call, because Easter is all about the resurrection. And what is happening for you right now is literally coming back from the dead. Right? It's like a renewal. It's a rebirth. It's coming back to life in all these ways and areas that you have not been able to express, maybe ever. So today's training is going to be super powerful. This is one of the trainings that I deliver in my keynote speeches when I'm asked to speak places. And I love this training because it really highlights the importance of your relationship with yourself, and how when you're able to move through the depths of you, you're able to move through the depths of anything else in your life, whether it's your relationship with your spouse, your children, your job, your business, your life. There's depth. Sometimes we're scared of the depth. We're scared of being deep. We're scared of what will happen if we dig too far. So I'm going to share my screen and I'll pull up this presentation. Okay, so building thriving relationships that improve your health. And as we've talked about in previous trainings, in 30 Days to Elevate, it's all about how you can shift your frequency and the energy that you're creating to really improve your quality of life. Whether it's walking with your head held high, whether it is limiting different substances that you put in your body, whether it's freeing your body of lifetimes of staying small, generations of holding back, and maybe that's causing you kidney problems, or maybe that's causing you to have skin issues, or maybe that's causing you to have heart issues. Whatever it is, it's usually tied to a stored trauma, a stored experience, a stored memory. So that's why really being able to hone in and deepen this relationship with you is going to be the most powerful thing you can do, because everything else that's connected to you will shift because of this. So let's get started. Y'all know who I am. Okay, so it all starts with you. So we have to create space. We have to create space in order for new relationship within ourselves, with God, foundations, right? Like all these things, in order for them to take place, there has to be space. And if our bodies, if our physical vessels are full of resentment, if they're full of guilt, if they're full of shame, right? Like all these low vibrational feelings that, we know are keeping us tired and exhausted, and we know they're keeping us closed, but for some reason it feels really good to hang on to them. So it's discovering why you still feel like you need that, honoring and acknowledging why and how and when this developed within you, why it exists, and then setting it free. You no longer need to carry these things that are keeping you weighed down. A lot of times I see this in clients, they're actually literally weighed down by extra weight on their body, and they can't figure out why they can't lose weight. A lot of times it's related to this. So we're creating space. Are we open to even forming a new relationship with ourselves, a new relationship with God? Are we open to letting go? Because sometimes you get right at the cusp. You get right at that place where you're like ready to let go. You're ready to step into something new. You're ready to be confident in who you are in your story without the anger, without the grief. And then you pull back. You want to know why? Because it's safer here. Your body's developed safety where you are. So you're about to step into a whole new frequency, a whole new mindset, a whole new life, a whole new comfort zone. And your body's going to try and pull you back. So it's like keeping the momentum still continuing, even when it's scared, even when it feels like you can't do it, even when it's hard. That's how you create space. That's how you create new responses, new automatic, new automatic thoughts, right? That's how you create something new, is by you keep going, you create space, you create an opportunity for something new to be born in your life. You create a rebirth. You create a resurrection. Your mind is always going to try and protect you. Your body is always going to try and protect you. I think I shared this in a previous training. Every time I'm being asked to step into a more expanded comfort zone, I always get sick. Something always happens that morning before I'm about to speak, before I'm about to, engage in a presentation or something like that. I always have a complete breakdown. That's something they won't tell you, but I'm gonna tell you because it's the truth. And this is where the importance of this mind, body, heart, spirit alignment comes into place, because if your heart is like, oh my God, I know in my soul and in my spirit that this is what I'm meant to be doing, you have those two pieces that are creating so much trust for you that it really helps your mind and your body to be able to keep pushing forward when they want to pull you back. So that's why it's so important. And that's why this journey all just really starts with you. So what is your relationship like with yourself? And these are just some key questions, and you can write these down, that are great to reflect upon. Because when we're in the process of rebirth and renewal and, coming back from the dead, do we even know ourselves? Has anyone ever asked you, what do you like? What do you don't like? Is this good for you? Like, how do you feel about that? Like, these aren't questions that are asked often when you are engaged in toxic relationships or in relationships that maybe no longer serve you, or relationships that, are unconscious, like where you aren't actually digging into the depths of yourself or the depths of the other person, right? Like, sometimes it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm just trying to say what you want me to say because I don't want you to get mad at me, right? Like, those are old patterns. Do you trust yourself? Do you trust yourself to make decisions that are in alignment with who you are? I feel like this question goes so strongly with, do you trust God? Because if we really trust God and we know that the guidance and answers that we're asking for are coming from God, that's going to allow us to really have a lot of trust in ourselves, right? Like, yeah. And you know what? Even if you make a quote unquote misstep or a mistake, you learn something, right? When you're on the journey and you're looking forward and you're looking towards where God's asking you to go, like, if you found the right path, if you're on the God path, if you're on the light up my soul path, you're going in the right direction. And you might do things sometimes that you're like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that, or like that was so hard, or like I maybe kind of regret that a little bit. It taught you something. God wanted you to see that for some reason. So it's like trusting that even if it doesn't go, quote unquote, your way, it still brought you what you needed to see. Another question, what is your relationship like with rest? Because rest is such an important part of integration. We can consume all the information. We can consume all the education. We can learn about all the things. We're taking it in. We're like, yeah, all the things. But at some point, we have to be able to take a breath and allow everything that we've learned to really sink in and allow God to work in our lives. If we're constantly controlling all the pieces and putting them where we believe that they need to go, that's not trust in self or God. That's you still controlling. That's you still in the driver's seat. So when we rest, we really allow ourselves to let go. And to the third question, allow in, open, and receive. Like, right? Like we're allowing God in. We're trusting God. Our heart is open to receiving all the love that God has for us and all the love that we have for ourselves. We know that even if it doesn't go my way, it's God's will, not mine. I can receive that. If someone wants to do something nice for me, I can receive that. If someone says, Megan, I love your hair so much. Thank you. Thank you. It has been a journey. And if you're in 30 Days to Elevate watching the replay, you know the story about my hair. So I say, thank you. I put my hand over my heart and I say, thank you. So often I hear, we can't even receive a compliment. So allow yourself, the next time someone wants to compliment you, say, thank you so much. Hand over my heart. Thank you. I really received that. And that might feel uncomfortable at first. Again, it's just the continued practice leads to automatic response reactions. I don't get that feeling in my body anymore when someone gives me a compliment. It's like, oh my God, no. You look so much better. Your hair, look at your hair. Oh, this little thing. Oh yeah, but like you look so great too. Like putting it back on them instead of really being in the moment of receiving. And sometimes we overgive, right? Like sometimes we're in this posture of giving all of ourselves when there's nothing left for us. So my question here, every time I talk with somebody who's an overgiver, is how are you going to carry out the assignment that God has for you if you have nothing left? How are you going to do that? So all these things that we hear, like you can't pour from an empty cup and make sure you put your mask on first before assisting others, like those sound cliche, but it's true. You can't help anybody if you're not good to yourself. If you're not well, you can't help anybody. There's a balance, right? There's a balance of this. Once you embody that balance, you're able to extend and expand God's kingdom, right? Like you're able to just give in a way that feels so expansive because you're allowing yourself to also receive. You're not just giving until you have nothing left. And you're not just over here receiving and holding it all in because God knows the next time you're going to get $1. If you're in trust, you know that there is a holy circulation that's going to happen. And the more that you're able to give and receive, see how there's like a beautiful balance there, then you can extend and expand. Okay, so what are you avoiding? And there's some words in the right hand upper corner: shame, guilt, resentment, grief. Those are the ones I see the most of. Those are the ones I see people avoid the most, because those are feelings that don't feel that great to feel. So we avoid them. We either push them down, we suppress them, we use substances, we use other forms of distraction to keep us from actually tapping into those feelings, talking about them, setting them free. This is the exact thing that will set you free. You ever have a hard conversation with somebody and afterwards you're like, oh, I feel so much better. I feel so much better. I was holding that in for so long. We don't even realize sometimes where the grief comes from, where the resentment comes from, but we know it's there. And how are you ever going to get to the root of it if you don't just start talking about it? I see this time and time again, and I've experienced this for myself. If you set aside intentional time with somebody that feels really good to you, a therapist, a coach, a mentor, a program director, I don't know, whoever it is. If you set aside intentional time in a safe place to start just sorting things out and unknotting and untying all of the things that feel so clenched and tight in your body, you're going to start figuring it out. You're going to start figuring it out, sometimes on your own. Sometimes that other person is just a sounding board and you just needed the intentional safe place to figure it out yourself. I had a client the other day tell me, They were moving through deep, deep, deep childhood feelings of anger and resentment, shame. I mean, all of it, right? Like childhood trauma. And this person said they wrote the longest letter that they've ever written in their entire life to their father. And afterwards, this person says to me, I was hungry. For the first time in 2 weeks, I felt hungry. I didn't want to eat for 2 weeks. I was sick. But after I got all of that out on paper, got it out of your body, I was hungry. That is a direct example of where that was stuck in the body and how releasing it set this person free. And a lot of times, you know, our story is our medicine. Our story becomes our medicine. Our story becomes our gift, our purpose, right? When you can shift these feelings of disempowerment, shame, guilt, right? Like all these things that I mentioned in the upper right-hand corner, if you can shift that to empowerment, like I have chills. That's it. When you can talk about your story in a way that it is like, man, that was crazy, but I did it. Because what does God ask us to do? God asks us to, like, what's that song from Sunday school? Go tell it on the mountain. Who's familiar with that? We are meant to share the glory of God. We are living testimony. When you come out of the deep, dark waters, when you're free, you are living testimony. We are meant to share that. How do you not share it? How could I not share? How could I not teach and tell it on the mountain? How could I not? When we allow these things to eat away at us, literally eat away at us, your body will tell you. You'll have health issues somewhere. Your body is the smartest thing in the entire universe. It will tell you. So not only does this lead to problems in relationships, but they lead to health issues, right? Like not only does this spill over into relationships where you're blaming somebody for something, or you're seeing it through the lens of what you experience, not through the lens of which it actually is. Wouldn't it be great to just see it for what it is? People don't even realize that they're doing that. You see through the lens of your experiences. Once your experiences are cleared and healed from your body, the lens in which you see is clear. There's a lot of power in that. Some more questions. Take a screenshot, write them down. When you're in the midst of a maybe confronting conversation, we don't always need to be so quick to respond, so quick to defend, so quick to attack, so quick to point blame, right? Like take a minute. Am I responding from my heart or from my ego? The ego will try and protect you. So that's why we snap back with defensive comments. The heart. What do I want to say? What do I actually really want to say? What I want to say is, thank you so much for sharing that with me. It actually made me feel really small because based on our past, it feels like every time I'm about to start expanding and growing and healing, you want to shut that down. And that makes me feel like you want to keep me small. That's an answer from the heart. That's an answer from your heart. Am I attaching or connecting? These are so great. When you are in, maybe like with work, maybe you're carrying something home from work and you're like, oh, I just want to save all my clients. I just want to help everybody. And it like starts to get you down and you start to worry and you start to overgive and like all these things. We don't have to take on anyone else's stuff. I like to think about it as like a plug, right? You're plugging in, you're plugging out. I can love you in this moment. I can care about you in this moment. I can care about you always. But after this is over, I'm going to take my plug and I'm going to unplug, because I don't need the heaviness of feeling like I am responsible for everyone else's safety, success, happiness. I'm not responsible for that. If I trust God, then I know that we're all walking our own journey, and I can only do at the capacity of which I'm able to do. And really start listening to your body, really start listening to your body and asking it, what is it telling you when you have anxiety coming up? Where does it live? What is it saying? It's a signal. We always want to push it down. Maybe it's giving you a signal of like where you still need to forgive yourself, where you still need to forgive others. Not being able to forgive and holding on to resentment causes your heart to stay closed. And how are we ever going to be able to open up and receive all the love that God has for us if our heart is so closed? You're not forgiving people for them. You're forgiving people and yourself for you. Remembering that you did the best you could. And that everyone else did the best they could from their own level of awareness. You will get there if you don't feel like you're there yet. Honor and acknowledge, release and let go, open and receive. What masks have you created to keep yourself safe, right? That's like the, I'm going to use comedy and humor as a defense mechanism and deflect from you asking me any questions, because I don't want anyone to see me. So if I'm funny, they're going to think I'm fine and no one's going to ask me any questions. That's an example. And number 5, really getting clear on, okay, what have I been carrying for a long time that I can't take where I'm going? I can't take where I'm going. Where you're going requires you to make room for new. Make room. Make room. You have to let go to make room. The biggest thing I see is this lack of being able to truly forgive, because once you're in a state of forgiveness, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Like, I'm at peace. I'm at peace. I know that no matter how many mistakes I made in my life, I did the best I could. I did the best I could under really hard circumstances. And I love that version of me. She was a warrior. She's a warrior, right? You can shift that in your own story on the path of forgiveness for you. And then once you're able to forgive yourself, it's a lot easier to forgive others. You're shifting into a different perspective, a state of gratitude that you know from a high perspective that God asked you to walk this because you are meant to be living testimony and you are going to help somebody with your story. And where you're going requires you to release all the weight you've been carrying and be so grateful for the journey that you had. You will start being in alignment with people who also feel that way about themselves, not people who are looking for pity or, right? Like people who are trying to be a victim in their own story. I was like that once. It's really easy to fall into victim mentality. But the truth is, you have the power to shift your life circumstance every day. Are you praying? Are you putting God first? Are you putting God and yourself first as the base foundation of everything you create? Are you asking for guidance? Are you being bold in your prayer? Ask for what you need. You are deserving and worthy of all of that. Ask for what you need and then believe it. Believe that you could be the one, like you could be the one to live your dreams. You could be the one to write the book. You could be the one to free your children from no longer having to witness a mom who feels sad all the time. I don't know. That was it for me. I wanted him to look back and see and know that even though I've been a single mom for 8.5 years, that I was a happy mom. Then it might have been hard sometimes, but I made memories. And God created miracles in my life, even when I didn't think it was possible. And I allowed my son to be witness to that because I believed in myself and I believed in God and his promises for me over my life. And I believed that my story had purpose. So I hope this resonated with you today. I hope and pray that it ignited fire in your spirit like you've never felt before. And I know that I've invited a few of you into the speak container that starts next week. And I'm praying over your decision making in that. I believe in you. I know sometimes getting over the hump is the hardest thing ever. But I believe in you. And I really hope and pray that you believe in yourself. And thank you so much for being here. If you're watching on the replay, thank you. And if you have any questions, let me know. 30 Days to Elevate has been amazing. You all are such incredible women. I'm so grateful that we had a kickoff at Holy Water in person, just really starting to create space there. So thank you so much. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.